A recent shooting at the Mexican border has gotten international attention, but there's more to the story than you may have heard. Now, Tucker Carlson has a closer look at the shooting and a disturbing trend, but we need to warn you, this report contains graphic images and should not be viewed by children.
Thanks, Sean. Across the southwest border, things are getting more secure, but they're also getting a lot more dangerous for the men and women charged with holding the line.
You got bodies rocking you on the south side. Going for the wall. Units, go ahead and pull out. They're rocking you from the south side.
Federal agents under attack. As the southern border becomes more secure, law enforcement agents increasingly are being targeted by drug and human smugglers.
As we gain more control, as we deny more territory, the frustration of these smugglers rises and assaults rise with it.
So far this year, Border Patrol agents have been attacked 857 times. That's up 15% from the same period last year. The most common weapon? Rocks. Ron Colburn recently retired as National Deputy Chief of the U.S. Border Patrol after serving with the agency for more than 30 years.
I've been present with the bloodied and bashed-in heads and faces of Border Patrol agents that have been assaulted by rocks. When one is surrounded by numerous people who have an intent to harm or kill, it's not a very good situation to be in.
And that was the situation one agent recently found himself in on the border in El Paso.
It was right behind me in the shadow of this train trestle that last month there was a shooting that involved the Border Patrol. A shooting that made international headlines and caused outpourings of anti-Americanism in Mexico.
The incident took place in the middle of a mostly dry concrete channel of the Rio Grande River, the center of which divides El Paso from Juarez, Mexico. Much of it was caught on tape by a cell phone camera, shot from the Mexican side.
Tell me what happened here.
A group of illegal aliens intending on crossing into the United States crossed right here. The agent...
Right under this railroad bridge.
Right here, yes, where we are now. And the agent intercepted them here.
The group runs back through a hole they cut in the fence and attempts to evade the agent. He struggles to detain one of them as the rest run back into Mexico.
So he's got a hold of the guy.
Yes, he does. And the rest of the persons having been deterred and having returned to Mexico. But when they saw his predicament, a person that was resisting him and not really willing to go along with him, they felt they had an advantage to at least assault and help their one person that was in custody to escape from the grip of the agent.
The group then moves back toward the agent and his suspect, throwing rocks.
He tries to retain custody of the person who is not exactly cooperating, and that's not unusual. He's getting flanked by rock throwers, and they begin to move in on him.
And he fires. In the grainy video, most of the rock throwers are off camera. But at the moment shots are fired, you can see that one of them was in the middle of the channel, here. And one was to the right side and behind the agent on the U.S. side, here. In the end, 15-year-old Sergio Adrian Hernandez Gorka lay dead. His mother has been telling the worldwide media that he was an innocent bystander who was just hanging out with friends and that he never entered the United States. But that is contradicted by the videotape and the extensive smuggling record U.S. officials say he racked up along the border in El Paso.
Many Border Patrol stations have what they call most wanted posters. And they usually have a cycling poster of about 10 of their most frequently arrested or most dangerous cross-border traffickers, those that ply the trade of smuggling. And this young man, I've been told, was actually on El Paso's most wanted. He had a record of at least 4 prior arrests.
The boy's family has hired a Houston attorney to represent them, and he denies that Gorka was a smuggler.
This was a young kid, 15 years of age, the wrong place at the wrong time, and was not involved in these other criminal activities that some people are saying that he was involved in.
Biometrics don't lie, fingerprints and facial features on computers, so the Border Patrol knows that for a fact. I've also heard witness accounts that he may have had a criminal record in Mexico as well.
So at the age of 15, he was on El Paso's most wanted and had a record in Mexico.
That's what I understand, yes. And that is not uncommon in the border environment. The organized crime groups are very sophisticated. They purposely recruit teenagers and youths.
The shooting has sparked massive anti-U.S. outrage in Mexico, where it has become a federal homicide investigation. Immediately after, there were accusations of corruption from both sides.
there are reports that authorities from the Mexican side of the border moved or attempted to move some of the agent's shell casings to create the case that he had in fact shot this suspect in Mexico.
Yes, I've heard some witness accounts where persons spotted what looked to be a uniformed Mexican police officer who picked up a shell casing, or they would suspect a shell casing on the U.S. side, walked back across the river and tried to casually drop it near the body to somehow implicate or imply that the U.S. agent actually ventured into Mexico.
Neither the Border Patrol or the FBI, which is handling the case, will comment until the investigation is completed. But U.S. officials say the use of deadly force is justified if an agent feels he's in danger. Take a look at this video from Calexico, California 3 years ago. A group of rock throwers targets an agent as he tries to make an arrest. When the 20-year-old suspect picks up a large rock and moves to attack the agent with it, he is shot and killed. The agent was cleared of wrongdoing by an outside investigation. But look at how quickly he has to make the decision to use deadly force. Less than a second. Take a look at this. It's the inside of a Border Patrol truck that was hit by a rock. Here's the agent who is inside.
All of us that have worn the Border Patrol uniform have had rocks thrown at us. This is an instrument that can kill.
And as more fencing and infrastructure go up, so do the attacks.
Your success apprehending people, keeping them from crossing the border, you think has driven a spike in attacks on agents?
Absolutely. The smugglers are not making the money that they make through their illicit trade because our agents are there, because our agents own this territory. That has caused frustration.
This is a shelter for Border Patrol agents with bullet holes in it.
That's correct. Prior to the fence, we needed to protect our agents while they were sitting in this exposed position so close to the international border.
And this is bullet-resistant glass that clearly did prevent rounds from going through, but they hit it.
Correct. That's correct. And some of those also are rocks that hit it also.
Even after the new fence was constructed, officials left the battered shelter standing, a reminder to agents of the dangers they face and of their colleague who was unlucky enough to get out of his truck just a few feet away.
He was struck in the head and he received 27 staples in his head from that rock that came across the river right here and hit him right there.
Was there some altercation that led to this?
He simply stepped out of his vehicle and he got hit by the rock.
So those on the front line often need to work in heavily fortified war wagons to protect against the constant barrage.
These vehicles are meant to stop any type of assault on our agents. They chuck bricks, rocks, anything they could find just to assault our agents. So we need these type of vehicles out there to protect our agents on a daily basis. It's pretty beefed up. I mean, this truck will take a beating if it needs to.
And take a beating it does. Here's what it feels like to be riding in a war wagon along the border at night. So as the investigation into the El Paso shooting continues, the constant battle between the smugglers and the men and women tasked with holding the line continues as well. And sometime between right now and tomorrow night, somewhere along the southern border, 3 more agents will be attacked.